Hey traders, Jonathan here with Control the Trade. I have a follow-up video for you from yesterday's video. We're going to focus on 3 stocks right now, maybe throw a bonus one in there. The first stock is going to be Plug, and then we're going to talk about Fisker, FSR. We're also going to talk about Virgin Galactic, ticker SPCE. So let's go ahead and take a look at Plug, even though I have Fisker up. In yesterday's video, and I'm going to pull a clip up here, we talked about how there was not really a distinct low that I could locate on the chart. We talked about 20, we talked about much lower than 18, I think maybe even 17, and we talked about 19, and then at one point in the video I took one more look and said 1850. There might be another area that we can find support before that, but we probably will be headed down to, let's say 20, and then I would think 1850 or so would be good support. Just at a glance here, I'm going to set some alerts. And look what we hit today. We hit 1847. So that was pretty good. I missed this trade, unfortunately, but I hope somebody out there had their buy ready at that price. There's just so many different opportunities here. It's tough to keep track of all of them and to be in each trade. I've been doing a lot of focus this morning on Fisker, as well as, and I'm looking at my phone right now for a quick glance here. Need some more screens. Fisker, let's see what that was. Walgreens. I'm actually looking for a bounce on Walgreens right here, 54.50. I like this live video. It's basically a live video, so I'm recording this during market hours. So let's see WBA. My line is 54.50. It's at 54.52. Could go down a little lower here to the yellow line here, which is the 200 period moving average on the 10-minute chart, which is 54.41. Let's see how it reacts off 54.50, which right now the low is 54.49. I like this as a intraday play, and I also like it as a long-term play. However, it's 11:14 a.m. Terrible time to trade, except there's a lot of volatility today, so maybe that's a little bit different actually, as long as we have volume and volatility. But there's not that much going on with this. Is not one of those like hot stocks where everyone's focusing on it. So you might just see Walgreens kind of drip away, and it's incredible support. It's also as you can see, to the penny. So this was a cool live look right here, and I may or may not get into this one. I'm trying to keep from breaking my rules about trading after 11 or 11:30 really is kind of the cutoff. That's when things get real tricky and you start really competing against algorithms more than anything. It can be very frustrating when you have a choppy market to trade that way. So let's go back to what we originally were looking at, which was Plug. And then, so my focus, like I was saying, was Fisker, also Magnite, MGNI, Mara. Those were a few that I was looking at. Continue with Plug. It looks like we have put a low in for the day, and we're drifting up nicely now. So it's a nice recovery for Plug. Let's look at a longer term chart though, just to see what we're working with here. And maybe you get a reversal candle here. You need a lot more volume. Reversal candle meaning we're going to stop the trend here and start going in the other direction. But you see this candle here from yesterday? That's what it has to overcome. And right now we're just getting kind of a, you could call it a dead cat bounce per se. You could call it just, we were flushing everywhere on all these types of stocks, and there was buyers down here at 1850. So if it can start challenging the high of this candle here, the 2266, then we start recovering towards this old important number 2459, up towards the 20 period moving average. It's a lot of work to do though in this chart to get there, but this is a great start. To have a strong bounce like that's really important. So we're going to be watching that one. Let's go to Fisker. This one is really cool. If you follow me on Twitter, and I hope you do, it's at Control the Trade. I put a tweet out 2 hours, I think, before the market opened, and said to look for 950, 965, I think, in that zone. I have to look at that. Let's look at the tweet. If you follow me, I usually try to put up some really quality opportunities. Let's see what the tweet said. Okay, all I actually wrote was watching 965 approximately for support. That was at 7:24 a.m. Let's do this the old school way. There you go. Can we see that? Okay, instead of bringing up the screenshot, that's what I showed you my phone. So look at that line on the chart there that's been there. It's amazing how that bounced off. We hit 961, so 4 cents off, not too bad. And got a nice trade out of that one. Where it's going now, this looks a lot like the Plug chart. I bet a lot of charts look like this, where they've just been getting crushed. They found their low, and that's what the videos have been about. They've been about finding these lows, and that brings me to SPCE, because Here's another one I missed, 14.27. I was trying to buy this after hours at about that price actually, and that was last night, you know, during earnings, thinking it would flush down. So again, this chart looks similar too. You have this huge flush down, and then we found support, and then a nice solid bounce. This one still has a lot of work to do as well on the chart, and let's just see which alert just went off here. Always set alerts, can't stress that enough. WBA, and guess where it went? It went down, Walgreens went down to 54.42, which we talked about, the 200 period moving average on the 10-minute chart. Let's see what went off, what alert went off. It was a spider, SPY, 412.65. I think I have a sell order. I actually bought the SPY, believe it or not, at 410.10 on that flush down, and the low is 410.06. So happy that I got filled there, then sold it. Let's go to the 10-minute chart. Sorry if I'm all over the place, but that's how it works when you're taking a look during market hours. Yeah, look at that. So I have a small piece left and looking to sell it at, I guess, what number is that? Probably 413, something like that. Nice recovery. This could be our low for the day on the SPY. So you still have this, now we have this new gap here if we're going back to Virgin Galactic. And this is a heavily shorted stock. I've talked about this in previous videos. This is all based on short squeezes, FOMO, speculation. Once we give up some of these important numbers, you can see that you get a harsh sell-off like this on a lot of these types of stocks. NIO is another one. I mean, look how similar these charts look. It's really interesting, actually. Palantir, here's our little bonus. It's having a nice reversal, putting a nice reversal candle in right now. So if we close the day above the high of this candle, 1930, that's going to be more bullish than bearish. Then we're going to run up to the 20 period moving average here. So maybe you get a little bit of a recovery from Palantir, which kind of gets mixed up in a lot of these meme speculative stocks because their company, from what I understand, fundamentally is actually solid. Here's something I find interesting real quick to wrap up the video. This will be this will be a bonus play here, is Mara. You can see one of the important lines on the chart here is 2640. I find it interesting that it gapped below that number. That tells me that number is important still. Now, of course, you could say, well, there's a bunch of different numbers throughout this gap here, but to open below that number to me, and now we haven't gotten back above that, it just confirms the importance of that zone. In order to get the bull case back in Mara, you're going to want to jump back above this zone. Actually, in my other previous Mara video, we talked about going down to the high 22s, low 24s, and we ended up going somewhere in the middle here, 23, and I'll try to find the clip of that to put in this video. And there's a much lower spot here that we referenced quickly earlier, which is the gap here at 22 and change. You have the low of this candle here is 24.11, so those are a couple areas where if you do flush down would be supportive. I do see this gap being filled though at some point. It may not happen today, may not happen Monday, but it seems like it's destined to happen. I definitely highly encourage you to check out my previous videos on some of these tickers. Even though those videos are a little older, they can still be important going forward. Sometimes the analysis that I do on a chart will be way behind what is actually happening on the chart, and I'll say something like, I'm not expecting it to happen today, maybe not tomorrow, but the chances are it's a high probability that it will happen. So it's good to revisit those videos. I also have one on Facebook that I'm going to look at soon because I feel like we're probably entering some of the zones that were discussed on Facebook in that video too. Same thing with NIO. NIO is something we talked about, going back below 33, found support there. Maybe you're going to get another little bounce here. I still see NIO as being very bearish. I think maybe it'll suck people back in. If it starts to recover and head towards the 50 and the 20, maybe you'll get people to come back into NIO. But I still see it going, and I've mentioned this several times, back below 30 at some point. And then it should have strong support in the mid-20s. Remember, there's a gap at around 25. That's going to wrap it up for this video. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I hope you subscribe and like the video. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I try to answer every single comment and every single tweet. Thanks again for watching, and remember, don't let the trade control you.